All right. All right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash, for giving me the spirit and time to do this lesson. Lord willing, it's edifying to the hopeful elect. All right. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, great millstone, who I learned this truth from. They are the leaders of all Israel in these end times, the real prophets that are sent to us to show us the correct way to salvation, and you be wise to cleave to them. All right. Shalom to you, Arkwaf, in order if you, Arkwaf, may be watching, listening, and learning in all obedience. You know, you sincere Arkwaf out there, shalom to you, and shalom to you, Israelites scattered abroad. It may look like these other nations, but you see, line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and shalom to you, brothers on highways and hedges, giving up your body as a living sacrifice, okay? Teaching this thing in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to you, brothers, man. Salaki, I'm a bit phlegmy, man. All right, as you see in the title, Salakia, man. That's what happens when I ain't got a drink. We're currently in the Day of Atonement, so I don't have a drink or anything. We're approaching the end of the Day of Atonement. Right now it's 5:37 p.m. and Day of Atonement finishes at roughly 6:40 p.m. So I thought to close it out, I'm gonna do this lesson that I've been meaning to do for a minute, okay? Because I got time, obviously, today, and I'm in the right headspace and everything to do this, man. I've got everything prepared. Okay, I prepared this lesson for a minute. Now, as you can see in the title, it says the digital ID is the prelude to the MOTB, okay, meaning the mark of the beast, okay. So this is a sensitive topic that they don't want you talking about. Brothers are getting their channels taken down, videos deleted, things like that when speaking on this topic, because they're going full steam ahead with this agenda, and it's something that they don't want us talking about at this time. Back in the day, it was the juice or the jab or whatever you want to call it. If you said anything about that during that agenda, then they would flag your videos, take your videos down, all of that, right? Or take your channel down. And now the same thing seems to be happening concerning this topic, because it's the latest in their NWO agenda. Okay, now I got some clips I want to play, and I've got some killer websites, right? Or one killer website that you click on different links on this website, it takes you just down the rabbit hole, right? But it's very useful information. Now, the first clip I'm going to play is quite lengthy, and I'm going to play it all the way through because she just breaks it down lovely, right? I think it's about 13 minutes long, roughly. And I'm going to play it all the way through. And I'm going to leave the link to it in the description. And also the link to the website that I was talking about that takes you down a mad rabbit hole. And trust me, you brothers might that want to do a lesson on the MOTB and the digital system and the digital ID and all that. You might want to copy that link, okay? Because if you want to bring it out in a lesson, it would be very educational, okay? When it comes into the number of the beast being Kaisai stigma, okay? We're going to get into all of that in this lesson, Lord willing, right? Lord willing, it's edifying, man. So what I'm going to do to start off with, I'm going to play this video. And then, I may pause it here and there on certain talking points that she speaks on, right? And I got just a couple of scriptures to bring out, and then, we'll wrap it up. I got a few other clips that I want to play also, little clips, short clips, showing you how severe this time is we're in, okay? And, they're going full steam ahead with this agenda right now, all right? So, let me see. Let's go on here. So, let's see, we're gonna start with, where is it? The top one here. All right, check this out. All right, first off, before we go any further, right? Check this out.
This is your wake up.
Why can't I get rid of that bottom bit? Let's see if we can blow it up full screen. Maybe that will help. No, no. All right, bear with me. I'm gonna open it on VLC because I want you to see this clear. Open with VLC.
This is your wake up.
There it is right there. Now, you see the hand gesture she's making, right? All of you in this truth should know what that hand gesture means, okay? Now, it just shows that this is all part of an agenda. And I don't know if she's controlled opposition or what, or she was told to throw that up. I don't know. But it ain't no coincidence that she's throwing up this Baphomet, right? So before we go any further, I want to show you something real quick. Right here you have, let's blow that up. Get the hell out of here, right? You got Barack Obama throwing it up. You know, many celebs be throwing it up, right? A couple celebrities right here, Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Eminem, the Beatles. But it represents, it's a satanic hand gesture. Okay, you got the Vatican throwing it up because listen, it's their thing that they do, right? To show you that they are in league with Satan. You see how he's throwing up right here with the representing the horns over his head, and then he's got the one eye covered because it's all connected. The one eye symbolism. You've got this guy here throwing up the 666 because if you look at the finger and then go around to the thumb and the index finger here, it represents a 6. And then you have 3 of them. Another one can represent a 6 and another one. So that's 666. It's all connected, right? And then you got Bush throwing it up. Joel Osteen, because these mega churches and these pastors are in on it. Okay, because it's all a part of keeping you blind. Right, I think that's it on that. So I just had to kind of highlight that. It's kind of interesting that she chose to throw up that at the beginning, of this video. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play the rest of this. Bear with me, Akim. I'll check one thing real quick. Let's drop that down. I knew it. I knew it. I didn't even add it to the stage, did I? Salakia for that, Akim. Salakia, man. I've literally just wasted 11 minutes of this lesson. I knew it. That's the thing about these live lessons. You don't get no take two. So let's run that back. Let's run that back as quick as possible, right? Let's run it back. So what we got here, we got her throwing up the Baphomet, right? Just like I attempted to show you earlier. You should all know what that means, right? We're not gonna replay. We're not gonna restart this video. What we're gonna do is we're gonna keep it running, man. Okay, let's drop that down, and let's go to here, right? What I tried to show you is you got Barack Obama throwing it up. You've got here 666. You've got the devil horns with the one eye covered, right? You've got the Pope throwing it up. All these characters throwing it up. Then you got Bush. Then you got Joel Osteen, which represents how the mega churches and Christianity is in on it, right? But that's enough of that. Let's get back to the video. And I'm going to play it again. Salakia for that. I really apologize for that, man.
Call. The British government is pushing forward with plans for a national digital ID system. They've called it the Brit card. And if that name doesn't send a chill down your spine, you have not been paying attention. I'm Bev Turner, and this is GB News Originals. Don't forget to subscribe to the GB News YouTube channel, please. Now let's call it what it really is. The Brit card is not about making your life easier. It's about making you easier to track, control, and punish if you step out of line across whatever line of the day is deemed important. They've wrapped it up in slick PR language about streamlining services and enhancing security and making sure that the Windrush scandal never happens again, because people who are allowed to live here will have the proof that they do so. They're also telling you all through the press that this will stop people coming over here on small boats. That is patently untrue. It isn't just about proving who you are online. That all sounds rather lovely. This is about building a centralized, state-controlled digital identity system that could be used, will be used, to link your finances, your medical history, your travel movements, your social media activity, even your social activity in real life, and more. It's quite frankly a digital dog tag. And once it's clipped around your neck, you will not be able to take it off. So let's start with the basics. What is this Brit card? According to leaked briefings and government statements, and frankly, any of us who've been paying attention knew this was coming, the Brit card is going to act as a unified digital identification that every British citizen can use to access public services, to prove their identity, and eventually, though they won't say this part out loud, link with your banking, your health, and your travel movements. They're calling it optional for now, but we've heard that line before. Remember vaccine passports? Yes, I do. They started as a temporary solution, but within weeks, you couldn't get into a pub or fly abroad without one. Make no mistake, the Brit card is the foundation of a surveillance state. Once in place, it will become incredibly easy to expand, quietly, incrementally, until it is essential for anything you want to do. You want to apply for a job? Brit card. Rent a flat? Brit card. Take a train? You guessed it. Brit card. And once that is normal, it is no longer this so-called card. It is a digital chain. It is invisible, but it is ironclad.
And it'll be on a chip, okay? And they will lodge that in your flesh, okay? And you cannot take that.
The sales pitch, of course, for this is it's all about security and efficiency. The government's narrative is all very slick, and they will say this is to reduce fraud. They'll tell you it'll make accessing NHS services easier or help you prove who you are when applying for benefits. All of that sounds great until you realise what you're giving up in return. A centralised ID, like the Brit card, will track everything you do. So when you check in to the GP surgery, the government will know. When you make a payment, when you log into a website, when you get on a train, imagine a digital record of your daily life monitored by both public and private entities. Your movements, your choices, your health, and critically, your opinions. This is not hypothetical. This technology exists. It will be easy to implement. The motivation to make it happen exists. And the right pretext, I don't know, another pandemic, a financial crisis, a spike in online hate speech, you will be told this is all for your own good. And if you think this ends with digital ID, I've got a bridge to sell you. The front pages of the papers this week were telling you, as though you're idiots, that a Brit card will stop people coming over on small boats seeking asylum, refuge, or being an economic migrant, because those people can often escape into the black market economy, working without the state knowing anything about them. Well, the state is already meant to know about them. If they're being given jobs, they should have the papers to secure that job. The Brit card won't make any difference to that at all. It will not operate as a deterrent to people who want to come across to this wonderful country. So just ignore that when you're being sold that idea. Let's also not forget that we are already seeing the slow creep of programmable money. The Bank of England is working on a digital pound and has been for a few years. And there are active conversations now about linking spending capabilities to your digital identity. That means if your ID is flagged, limited, or suspended, I don't know, because maybe you said some hurty words on social media, that will mean you can't access your own money. Just let that sink in. The government already has a proven track record of making life extremely difficult for people who don't toe their very narrow line. From freezing protesters' bank accounts to threatening censorship online, the precedent is clear. Give power-hungry bureaucrats without sufficient conscience or imagination a system like Britcard, and you're handing these idiots the keys to your digital life. And just wait until it's tied to your carbon tracking or your health data. You didn't recycle this week? Points will be deducted. Bought too much red meat or petrol? Access denied. Did you say something misleading? Perhaps some misinformation, the kind of stuff that you and I would know to be true on social media? Your account will be flagged. If you think that is far-fetched, then you haven't been reading the same websites as me. You just have to go and have a cursory glance to the World Economic Forum website, and it's all there in black and white as an ambition. No vote, no debate, no accountability, no parliamentary scrutiny. This is all happening whilst we are talking about less important things. Now, what makes a Britcard so dangerous isn't just what it does, it's how it's being rolled out. There's been no referendum, no meaningful public debate, no mainstream media scrutiny worth mentioning. Everybody just treats this as though it's a fait accompli, and they completely lack the vision or the cynicism to work out what's going on. It's being slid in under the radar, piecemeal, behind closed doors, dressed up as tech innovation. It is classic mission creep. And right now we're told the Britcard will be voluntary. Of course it is. But so was the NHS app. So was that ridiculously expensive 30 billion quid track and trace check-in app. So was digital banking, remember? That would always be optional. Not anymore. Over time, these systems like those evolve from handy options for convenience into non-negotiable requirements. The infrastructure is being built while we're distracted. And once it's in, it's only a matter of flipping a few switches before it becomes mandatory. It isn't mandatory, of course, if you're having to be coerced into using it because you cannot function every day without it. And once we're at that stage, it will be too late to push back. Now, people will say, I hear it a lot, if you have done nothing wrong, Bev, you have nothing to fear. This is the language of tyrants or just deeply naive people who still think the government have their best interests at heart. Your right to privacy is not conditional on your obedience to the government or what society deems the latest omni-trend. You do not have to justify why you want to keep your medical data, your spending habits, or your daily movements about your city or your country or the world, frankly, to yourself. That is called freedom. We are supposed to live in a liberal Western democracy, not a digital cage in which we can't operate without the permission of bureaucrats at the other end of our telephones. Now, when the state can track you at will, freeze your finances and control access to services based on your compliance, it doesn't matter how well behaved you are. You've already lost the most basic of liberties, the freedom to live without constantly seeking permission to do normal, everyday things. So what can we do? This is the tricky part, but it is necessary. Try as far as possible not to opt in. And I know that's really difficult because we're not quite there yet, but there will be a pushback like there was with vaccine passports. Try not to let your data be captured willingly. Use cash still whenever possible. It's one of the best ways to fight back. It is private, it is anonymous, and it is the antidote to control-based payment systems. Speak to your MP. Demand transparency. Demand a referendum. Demand a say on this. Send them links. Send them this video. Hi. Send them anything that you think will educate your MPs, because they probably also feel similarly about freedom, but maybe they just don't understand the significance of what they are voting through. You need to support independent journalism as well and tech alternatives. Big tech is part of the problem. We need decentralized platforms, not government monitored IDs. And talk to your mates, talk to your family. Make sure this isn't like vaccine passports where everyone was a little bit awkward and didn't know whether we should bring it up over Sunday lunch in case somebody at the table hadn't taken a state mandated injection. Talk about digital ID. Ask people, do you know what the Brit card is? Do you know what it will do? Do you know what the implications are? It's such an important conversation. It's literally the most important conversation that we should be having at this time. Because once the Brit card becomes part of daily life, resistance will be painted as extremist. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So speak up now while we still can. And finally, this is about power. The Brit card isn't about technology. It's not about convenience. It's not even about illegal immigration, regardless of what they tell you. It is about power. Who has it? Who controls it? And who loses it? If we let our MPs, cheered on by tech companies, push this through without a fight, it won't be long before asking the wrong question, spending money on the wrong things, or holding the wrong opinion will put you on the wrong side of the system. And there will be millions of people who will be happy to cheer this through. It's not even about left or right. It makes that old-fashioned political paradigm utterly irrelevant. It is about being free or being trapped. And if we don't draw the line here at Britcard, it may be the last line that we ever freely get to draw. I won't be living with you in a digital cage. I will do everything to remain outside of that system.
Yeah. So, you know, she seems to think that there's a way you can fight back against this, but, you know, we of the hopeful elect, we lean upon what prophecy says. Hey, Shalom, brother. GMS in his likeness. Shalom, bro. Yeah, how about Shim Yahushai Barakatah, man? Good to see you join my live. But you know, like I said, there's nothing you can do to fight back against this because it's prophecy. It's gonna play out exactly how the Lord said it was gonna play out. You know, the Lord's word is not gonna go out void. And every prophecy, you know, the plagues are sent, and who can let's see, I might get to that. Let's read this for now. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So what we're doing right now is standing upon our watch, okay? And somebody that's on a watchtower, you know, they alert the citizens of impending danger, right? And that's what we're doing. We're alerting you of the hopeful elect of what's coming, okay? Something very important that's coming. Basically an attack on us, right? From Satan himself, Esau. Verse 2 says, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. So that's what we do, you know, bringing out what the Bible says according to, you know, the prophecies that we're seeing happening right in front of our eyes right now, man, in these end times, okay? So for you to run that readeth it means to be made alive, okay? It says, for the vision, in verse 3, Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision, which is the prophecies, is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. It says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So for a while, people have been talking about the mark of the beast. Even Christians, man, in the Christian church, they got that prophecy correct. You know, and this is just one of many visions, but you know, we've been speaking about these visions, these prophecies for a long time, and it seems like it's tarrying, but it's definitely going to come. The Lord says, wait for it, because it will surely come. And now we're seeing that it is here, man. Okay, just as the Lord promised, proving that the Lord's word is true. The Lord is faithful, the only one we can trust in this world. It says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right? Behold, his soul, which is lifted up in pride, is not upright in him. These people ain't right. To want to slave the whole of humanity, you got to be a sick, twisted individual, man. So he's not upright. It says, but the just shall live by his faith. That's us of the hopeful elect. We know what the scriptures say. We know what's coming. We know there's no fighting the back against this digital ID, the Brit card, whatever, you know, because this is worldwide. But, you know, we know there's no fighting back, and we know that we just got to wait for the Lord, trust in the Lord, you know, and he will deliver us from this. It says, yeah, so the just is living by his faith. It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, right? So he transgresses by his philosophies, you know, his policies. It says, neither keepeth at home. This is because he's in everyone's land, right? He belongs in the caves of Petra, but he's everywhere else saying, you know, take our country back. White man fight back. White man fight back, right? Trying to hold on to what he stole because he's not at home. He's everywhere else in everyone else's land. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell. See, he can never have enough, basically, man. This man is never satisfied. That's why taxes go up, inflation, all of that. It's because these greedy bastards at the top are just greedy, and they have an insatiable appetite for power and wealth. And it affects us at the bottom. It says, and is as death, meaning his ways bring death. If a so-called white man comes to your shore, you best believe death is going to follow. It says, and cannot be satisfied. Okay, this is why they can never have enough. It says, but gathereth unto himself gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This means you cannot live off the grid. This man wants control of all people and all nations. Okay, he wants to ultimately chip you all up so that he can track your every movement, know what's going on under your skin, control your thoughts. Probably, this man is just, he's exactly what the Bible is talking about. Okay, when it speaks about the devil and his characteristics, it's Esau. It's all talking about Esau. Okay, now I got some things I want to show you, right? Because this whole thing that he's setting up is basically just a way to control everybody so that you belong to him, so that you pay every penny of your taxes. You can't dodge. With cash, you have a bit of freedom. Okay, you can have a little lemonade stand or a yard sale or a side hustle. With this digital ID and not exactly the digital ID, but with the MOTB, when it comes fully implemented, all of that's out the window. Okay, it's about total control of the world's population, man. Now, I've got a few little clips I want to play just to kind of give you a brief idea as to what's going on with this thing. These are little AI videos and stuff like that I came across. Check this out.
Sorry, but I'm afraid you've already eaten an ounce of beef this week. Your BRIC card says no. Sorry, sir, but your BRIC card has informed us that you have already flown twice this year. You cannot fly anymore.
I've just logged in with my BRIC card and it's saying I've already had 4 hours of internet today and it's locked me out.
Just a little taste of what's coming, because they'll be able to track how much meat. They're pushing that agenda where they don't want people eating meat anymore. They want you eating bugs. Well, there's going to be a lot of resistance. But if you have a digital ID, then they can keep track of what you've been eating and make sure that your ID card don't allow you to purchase certain things, especially when they lodge that chip in your vessel, right? I thought I had that other oh yeah, there it is. Check this one out.
Can I see your BRIC card, please?
I don't have one. I don't have a smartphone.
Can I get another pint, please?
Sorry, sir. Your BRIC card says you've exceeded your alcohol quota for this week.
Sorry, sir. Your BRIC card says you've already flown twice this year. We're having to restrict passengers with higher than average emissions profiles.
Sorry, I'm afraid your funds have been temporarily frozen. Your recent social media post did not align with the government's narrative.
Sorry, I'm afraid your BRIC card says you cannot purchase any more meat this week as part of our commitment to achieving net zero.
I've just logged in using my BRIC card and it's saying I've already had 3 hours of internet today and it's locked me out.
Total control, man. Habakkuk 2 and what was it? Was it Habakkuk 2 and 5? He gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. See, so you ain't gonna have the freedom to just, go around the world and do what you want. Okay, if you travel too much, they can restrict you because of this new carbon footprint madness that they're talking about. Esau's a madman. You think that you can live a free life with this man ruling? This is where it's headed. And once you get that chip lodged in your vessel, that's it, man. Let's go to it. This is Revelations 13 and 16. Now, this was prophesied by John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos, right? When he was in prison on the Isle of Patmos. And this was back in 95 AD, I believe it was, around that time. So this, you got to think, that's about almost 2,000 years old that he had this vision of the time that we're living in now, the most important time in the history of mankind, where you got earthquakes. We just had another one, what, today in I forget what country it was, but you just had another earthquake today. We got World War III. we got chariots popping up everywhere. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the world, man. Protests worldwide, which the Lord talked about would happen, as far as uproars of the people. All of this is going on, man. But this prophecy was for this time. Remember, I read in Habakkuk where it says the vision is yet for an appointed time. Habakkuk 2 and 3. The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Now it's speaking loud and clear. This prophecy right here, this vision, okay? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Notice it says he causeth all. Now, he's not going to force you as far as, pinning you down and shoving it up your meat. You know what I mean? Lodging a damn chip in your meat. He ain't going to do that. You have to volunteer. Okay? But ultimately, he's going to make it very hard for you not to, because you're going to be an outcast of society. What you going to do? Live in the woods in a tent? And all of you that took the juice, you can be tracked anyway, even if you don't have a smartphone on you, because Esau's a cunning hunter and he set you all up. So when we're on the run as pilgrims upon the earth, if you got any women, when Isaiah 4 and 1 comes along, you got women want to tag along with us. If they've had the juice, they accepted the juice, the poison, they've been bitten, they can get lost, man, because otherwise, they're basically a liability, man. They'll cause us to be caught. But anyway, it says he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, basically everyone, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead. Now, when you go into this meaning of mark, it's charagma, okay, which means it's a physical mark. It's not the same mark as in other precepts that are spiritual marks, or thawadah or scopeo. It ain't talking about that, okay? This is a different mark. Now, when you break down John 3:16 to cut Christians, you got to go into the meaning of words in order to cut a Christian when it comes to John 3:16. That's the only way you can cut them. Because the word world is cosmos. It's not the same as other scriptures when it talks about world. From face value, you'll think that the word world means the whole world. And that's how Christians push it. And you've also got false prophets that don't believe that the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. And they will use this to say the mark is a spiritual mark, right? When the truth is, when you go back to the etymology of the word mark, it goes into charagma, which is a physical mark. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And the reason it says right hand is because the right hand is the most dominant hand in the world. You'll find that most people in the world are right-handed. But it can be in their left hand also, okay, because you do have left-handed people. But it's gonna be caused to be put in your hand. You have the forehead, which is the Neuralink, which Elon Musk is damn near perfected. You got people playing video games with their brain, right? Linking it up with artificial limbs to cause them to walk again and things like that. They foreshadow this and show you hints in movies, man, like the latest movie Megan 2, right, with the little AI doll, and they got the man in there. My daughter loves that movie. But they got the man in there, and he's in a wheelchair originally, but he's got a Neuralink in his brain. And then you see him stand up, and everyone's standing there looking in amazement like, wow, because he's actually walking. And then the next scene you see him, he's dancing on stage like a regular person, when really he was living a life in a wheelchair. They're just basically showing you Esau's false miracles in these movies, man, because it's all links up with what's coming. Okay. Revelations 13 and 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell, meaning make transactions, be a part of daily, live a normal life, basically, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, so you have to be down with the system and have the digital ID, you know, your which is eventually going to be put on a chip. Okay, so the mark is the charagma, which is the physical mark, that chip that they're going to put inside your body. That's the actual mark of the beast. Everything else is leading up to it. Okay, the juice that they put in your body had nanotechnology in it, and that's a part of it also. Okay, they had a lot of people that didn't take that, so therefore when your medical records are on your digital ID, they'll be able to tell, you know, they'll be able to track better who has taken it and who hasn't. Now, at the same time, you see that they're fueling this race war, this civil war, so that they can depopulate the earth in a great level so that the people are more easily manageable. Because with such a large population, it makes it harder for them to achieve their agenda. So they're pushing for this mass death event at the same time. Okay, it's all happening, man. So it says Revelations 13 and 18, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding, let me let that noisy engine pass. So lucky for that. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which comes to 666. Now, I've got a link here that I've put in the description of this lesson, right? And this this link here is amazing, right? Another brother did a lesson on it, and I went ahead and found the link by taking a screenshot of, I took a screenshot of this on my phone, and then I was able to find the link through my screenshot that I took. You know, if you know how to use a smartphone, you know, then it can be very handy, you know, for what we do as watchmen, right? So I was able to find the link, and now I've put this link in the description. Now it's got a bunch of things that you can click on, right? Here, all down the side here, different things that you can click on to really get a broad understanding of this mark. And I'm going to read part of it. It says microchip implants and 666, epi, charagma, and chi-psi stigma, right? 666 is chi-psi stigma. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. It says there are many people out there pointing to the implantable microchips, right? And this alone is a link. Like I said, there's many links on here. All these are links. So this actual link, this main link I'm going to send, I put in the description, is broad. There's a broad avenue of places you can go, you know, to really get a thorough understanding that this is a physical mark. This proves it without a shadow of doubt. Okay, it says there are many out there pointing to the implantable microchips to fit the role of the mark of the beast, but most of the time biblical evidence supports such claim is lacking. Biblical evidence to support such claim is lacking. It says one may even begin to think such support doesn't exist. But if we look closely at the Greek words directly associated with the mark of the beast, such as epi, charagma, and chi-psi stigma, it becomes clear that biblical support for such a mark is very strong, meaning a physical mark. Okay, and this link is gonna break it down thoroughly, man. Okay, you got RFID implants, NFC payment, right, which is here in the UK, and it says and the mark of the beast, right? All three of these, well, all of these here are different links. Mark of the beast in the hand or forehead, that's a link. Gold, money, and the mark of the beast, 666, that's a link. The mark of the beast is a spiritual symbol, that's a link. Biblical reference to a physical mark, that's a link. See, so it really covers it all, man. But what you'll find is that it's definitely a physical mark. Okay, so I don't know what the hell IUIC are talking about, and all these other people, right? HOY, all these false prophets, Wi-Fi. They ain't got the answers. They ain't got the truth. Okay, they don't deal with the spirit prophecy, man. It says the overwhelming majority of available In fact, I won't read that because I read that earlier and it's not really that good. Right here, it says, it is not easy to discard the work of clearly Christian martyrs. And actually, hold on a minute. We won't read that either. Let's scroll down a bit. I want to get to this bit here. Here we go. According to Slacky, let me shut that window. 1 second. Bunch of noisy Edomite kids, man. They're distracting me. Anyway, it says, according to the Strong's Concordance, it says both in and on are valid translations for the Greek word epi. Okay, it says epi's many definitions include into, in a place, and among, all of which perfectly describe the placement of the modern day RFID chip implants. It says, such as applied digital solutions, very chip, the microchips are easily injected into, meaning epi, the body, or in place. It says of the hand or of forehead, and remains among the flesh. See? So into, in place, and among are all related to the word epi, the Greek word epi, right? So between epi, charagma, and what was the other one? Kaisai stigma, right? It all shows you that Great Millstone have the truth, man. It says a syringe will also leave a puncture mark on the surface of the skin, which may even scar depending on the size and shape of the puncture. It says payments, watches, and rings would also be considered on the hand or wrist. It says phones, which are now capable of secure payments via NFC technology, which is a link, right? If you want to learn more about that, it has a link. It says could be considered in the hand. It says any of these technologies could fulfill the requirement of the mark of the beast to buy and sell, but only an injected microchip will prevent loss or theft. See? Because once you put it in, you cannot get it out without surgery. Right? But once you take it, there is no taking it out and repenting, man, because the Lord says any man that receives it, it doesn't say if you receive it and take it out and repent, you're okay. It says if you receive it, point blank, period, man, then you're going to be, we'll get to that scripture in just a minute. Now, I found this interesting because the thing that this is made of is something called bio bond, right? Bio meaning body, and bond, so it's a body bond, right? And it has a link here. Oh damn, I didn't know it said that, right? When you highlight this link here, it says tumors in long-term rat studies associated with microchip animal identification devices. So that's that grievous sore, which is related to this biobond material that is going to cause it to be fused to your flesh, where you cannot just easily take it out. Check this out. I'm going to read it. It says Strong's definition of among really starts to make sense when one considers the patented biobond. Like I said, there's a link for it. So if you want to learn more about that, a biobond coating that enables the surrounding tissue to fuse with an otherwise smooth glass capsule. So it's not just a smooth glass capsule that goes in your skin and you can just take it right back out and it just glides right back out. No, it's got this bio bond on the top here. Kind of looks like a mini condom, right? And basically what that does is it kind of melts and fuses with your tissue, right? Esau's wicked technology. So it says BioBond was a solution to the problem of RFID microchips migrating when implanted under the skin of household pets. It says this coating makes microchip implants, which is another link there, very difficult to remove without surgery. It says, in other words, like the Verichip, mark of the beast, which is another link, right? It says is likely to remain permanently once implanted. See? So this thing ain't coming out of your body, okay, without surgery, and once it's in there, because it's going to bond to your flesh. It says the Greek word, now this is talking about charagma. The Greek word for mark is charagma, which Great Millstone have been saying for the longest, which is a physical mark. Okay, it's different than scopeo or thawadah. Okay, those are three different marks, man. Okay. It says Strong's Concordance defines charagma as a scratch, an etching, a badge of servitude or graven, and finally mark. Okay, and it has a link there for that. Okay, the link says the Strong's Greek Lexicon 5480 charagma. Okay, so it's going to give you a bit more information about that. It says Strong's also notes that charagma is directly related to the Greek word charax, which means to sharpen to a point, which goes into the device that like a palisade that is put under your skin. Okay, it's very easy to understand when you connect the dots. Okay, it's without a doubt a physical mark, and anyone that takes it and listens to these false prophets, man, you're out of here. You're screwed. You're deceived. Okay, they're the blind leading the blind into a ditch. Okay, point blank period, man. It says, which means to sharpen to a point, that's charax, and also describes as a stake. You got a link here for charax, which goes into a palisade. Let me quickly see what that's saying because I haven't clicked on it yet. Right, charax. It says charax, to sharpen to a point, akin, although the idea of scratching a stake, i.e., by implication, a palisade or rampant military or rampart, which is like a trench. So basically, when you go into the meaning of a palisade, let's kind of look that up real quick. Go to images. And then you go to this one here, right? That's a palisade, a pointed instrument that basically is what they're going to puncture your skin with to get the charagma in, to get the physical mark in, which is the microchip. This is a palisade. For those that don't know, they used to use it to build wooden fences, okay, way back in the day. They don't really use them like that anymore, but you can still find them some places. But it's basically a stake. Okay, you got to connect the dots, man. So get rid of that real quick. All right, let's go back. So that's the meaning of charax, right? Which is from the charagma. Now let's jump down to Kaisai stigma real quick, because this goes into the name of the number of the man, which is Esau. Now Kaisai stigma is 603 score and 6, right? 666. When you look at the Chi, CHI, it's like an X, okay? And it equals 600. And when you go into the Psi, it's like an X and an I, which goes into what looks like a coiled up snake, right? Really, you got to focus on the main bit here, which is it looks like an E, okay? Now that's a 60, which is 3 score, because a score is 20. So 3 score would be 3 times 20, 3 scores, which equals 60. So that's 660. And then you got stigma, which is like an S, like a snake. And that's 6. Okay. So what I want to show you real quick, because Esau loves to put this number everywhere, but he does it sneakily, right? He does it very subtly. You got this movie, The Lion King, and this popped to mind earlier when I was prepping this lesson because I remember seeing this. But there's an image where Simba, I think it's Simba, he collapses on the edge of this cliff, and then you see a pile of dust fly up into the air. And what you'll see is it looks like it says sex, which, you know, they are trying to sexualize children. But why would he put sex in there? I mean, what purpose does that serve for him to put sex inside the movie? Let me see if I can blow that up so you can see it more clear. All right, we're kind of going off course. Let me just run it back. Let's forget about that. But anyway, so you can see, I don't know if I can I blow it up that way? There we go. Boom. Right. So you can see right there, this ain't very good quality. As you can see, symbol looks well blurry, but it represents SEX. Now, remember what I showed you with the Kaisai stigma. SEX, right? So basically, this isn't just saying sex; it's saying Kaisai stigma, man, which is the number of a man. The number, they put this number in everything. You know, Hollywood and Disney are satanic as hell, right? So they're putting their number 666 in the form of Kaisai stigma in the middle of this movie, man. But they did it subtly, hoping that you wouldn't figure it out. But here is wisdom, let ye that have understanding, right? Here is wisdom, Revelations 13 and 18. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. It's Esau's number, man. The ones that are in control of Hollywood, these small hats, the ones that are in control of Disney, and his number is 603 score and 6, right? Kaisai stigma. It says, early biblical translations chose to spell out the number 666, 600, 3 score and 6. This is one of the rare exceptions in the English Bible where a number is spelled out instead of using a numeric representation. It says this treatment of 666 brings focus to the individual characters, which allow us to gain further understanding of the mark of the beast. If we look at the Greek, we see that 666 is presented with 3 letters, Kaisai stigma. The numeric values of these 3 Greek letters add up to 666, 666. It says, it should be noticed that stigma is based on the ancient Greek digama, and must not be confused with modern Greek sigma. It says it carried the meaning of a mark, dot, puncture, or generally a sign from the verb, whatever that Greek word means. It says to puncture. See? So everything's leaning toward this actually being a puncture or a stake, basically an engraved mark, a physical mark, man. And then you got links here. If you want to go into the word digama, it's got a link there. It's got a link for this word that I couldn't pronounce in Greek, right? If you want to break that down a bit better, it says, as well as a mark from pointed instrument, often as a sign of ownership, mark, brand, or tattoo. So keep in mind, it's talking about a sign of ownership, because once they put this charagma inside you, it's a mark of ownership. And where have we heard this before? Let's turn to the book of Exodus, chapter 21, right? And I'm going to read it from the top just to give you more context. It says, now these are the judgments which thou, Exodus 21, starting at 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, right, a Hebrew slave, a slave of our people, it says 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th year he shall go out free for nothing. But Esau don't live according to the law of, our law. His laws are very unjust, he has unrighteous decrees, man. But our law is better, because after the 7th year we got to let our slaves go. They got to go out free for nothing. Okay. It says, if he came in by himself, he shall not go out by himself. if he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. See? And that's a just thing, man. That's a righteous thing. If he goes out, if you release him, his wife has to go with him because they're one flesh. It says, if his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife of and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. It says, if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, which, you know, a lot of people suffer from Stockholm syndrome today, right? Loving Esau. It says, my wife and my children, I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges, and he shall also bring him to the door and unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, right? Kind of like what we saw. Where is it? I think it's down in it. No, it's up. Kind of like what we saw here. Boom. That would be a digit. That would be like an awl, right? Something you pierce your body through, like a charagma. Okay. So if we go back here, this is basically showing you that once you're pierced through with an awl, then you're their servant forever. So let me read this from the top again, right? Because this is Exodus 21:6. It says, then his master shall bring him to the judges, and he shall also bring him to the door unto the doorpost. So you put his ear against the wooden doorpost. It says, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. See? So exactly what this was talking about when it talks about Kaisai stigma, and then it goes to right here, it says a mark from a pointed instrument, often as a sign of ownership. See, it's all related, man. Okay, so like I said, I've left the link to this and the clip that I played in the intro of this lesson. I've left both of them in the description for you brothers out there that may want to do a separate lesson and edify your people. Okay, edify your sheep. Right. Let's go a bit further. Let's show you how this thing is spreading, because there's many countries that are taking this digital ID on board at the same time as the UK, right? Because the UK is pushing it and making it mandatory for all jobs at this current time. And it's one of the biggest deceptions in the world, man. So right now you got China. Let's just quickly play this clip.
So the latest in this dystopian outrage that is now all of China, apparently, is I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a
digital ID.
Cell phone that is linked to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything. But now, apparently, it has been flagged for some reason, and I have to pass facial recognition identity verification, which is insane, because all I want to do is just spend my gift card balance on this debit card.
So this is leading up to it, man, because now they're trying to make it to where you cannot buy or sell without you giving them, you know, all the data about your individual body, about you, whether it be your facial recognition, whether it be your fingerprints, you know, next thing it'll be the retina scan. You know, they literally want to know everything about you so that they can put all this data on the chip when it finally is released, because that's the final stage of their New World Order agenda.
ID, isn't it great? Now she's got to take a picture, look. Just about to buy something to eat. Total madness. I'm going to put something in the comments, just copy it and then paste it onto Google, and it takes straight to a thing you can send your MP. It's an email already drafted, so you don't want it.
Terrifying.
Thing is, you could say you don't want it all you want. I mean, like, it was like over 1 million people that signed a petition to the government here in the UK saying they don't want it because there's great resistance against it. But it don't matter. They're still going to go ahead with it. Okay, after 1 million votes, they're supposed to do something it's supposed to make an impact, but this ain't, because this is of the Lord. Okay, this is the Lord's ultimate snare upon the world, man. For them that he wants to destroy. Okay, because the Lord has to hit the reset button, and all of you that take this and bow down to this system, you're through, man. All of you Israelites.
And of course, because it was my cousin who set this up for me, I did not pass verification. I guess it's a good thing that the Chinese app is not racist. But now, I once again...
She was about to say she can't buy anything. And this is where it's headed, man. So you got China taking it on board. You got Barbados. Check this clip.
Having a chance of having economic activity.
And what are you using? Are you using technology to speed that process?
We are using technology. We've just in Barbados introduced the National Digital Identity Verification Card, and that is to help us expedite the process in spite of what else we are fighting for in terms of our advocacy out here.
But you're talking about a digital identification card?
Digital identity card.
We don't have that in the United States. Explain to me what that is.
A card.
You don't have it yet. Trust me, it's coming.
That helps you to validate who you are digitally, to give you access to other services so that the banks can take a chance on you in a more credible way. But that costs us millions of dollars to do. In the same way, equally, our banks are using a metric which is in fact far more rigorous than yours. You have a metric of 10,000 US for money laundering. Our metric is the equivalent of 5,000 US. So that every transaction over 5,000 US has to be able to be monitored and examined. And the bottom line is that in every instance we are doing, I say this with the Madam Chair, like women, we are doing twice as much as you to be considered half as good as you.
I've got no follow-up.
Yeah, man. So they're pushing it in Barbados. There's other countries too that I don't have on here, but I'm just going to show you a couple that I do have, because this thing is going to be worldwide, man. Every country is going to be on board with this. Okay, I don't care if they're fighting in the middle of World War III. They're all gonna. This is one thing they're all in league with, man. Okay, they're not gonna break this treaty. Okay, it's a worldwide system.
The state government is about to launch a new form of digital ID that means you'll never have to hand over your personal details to anyone again. It will all be stored in the Service New South Wales app on your phone, which will prove you are who you say you are.
Scanning his licence, passport and Medicare card, in less than 3 minutes, the minister proves he really is Victor Dominello.
This is unquestionably the Holy Grail.
This is your first look at the state's new digital ID.
This is a huge step forward in giving back people control over their data, control over their identity.
Personal credentials will be stored on your device. No IDs need to be handed over. And that means keeping your address and birth date to yourself. If you need to hire a car, rent a property, set up a bank account, check into a hotel, or prove you're over 18 to buy alcohol or attend an event.
But how can it trust you are who you say you are? Well, you'll need to take a selfie, which will be cross-checked against other forms of ID you've submitted. And when there's a match, you're good to go.
The technology will be opt-in and should be available later this year.
So they're pushing it in New Zealand and in Australia. Okay. So this, like I said, man, this thing is global. Okay. And there ain't no escaping it, man. I forget what video that is. I'll play that in a sec. I want to play this one first.
Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your families safe and efficient.
So this is they're gonna link all of this up to a social credit score, man. And you see they foreshadow that in certain movies and series like Black Mirror, I think it is, where there's a famous scene where a woman's trying to get on a plane and all that, and you know, her credits keep getting lower and lower, and then her whole life goes from good to bad in a span of a day based on a social credit score. Now, in this particular video is foreshadowing what this system, the possibilities that this system can bring about, right? Which it will. And basically, if you attend any protests, you see all the cameras right there, right? That's Esau trying to, you know, control everybody and everything. He's trying to see everything like the Lord does, but he does it on the left-hand side through his technology because he's trying to be like the Most High, right? So this is his system that he's putting in place, where you don't have the freedom to do all the things that you do now. If the government are corrupt as hell, which they always are, then you can't protest about it. You can't be on social media just saying what you want. This is the life that they want, and this is what they're pushing, and they have the power and the resources to make this happen. But it's all given to them by the Lord. The Lord is the one that is making them do this. Okay, the Lord says that he is the judge and to fear him, right?
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Traffic violation detected. 7 miles per hour over the limit. 75 credits have been automatically deducted.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
Yep, you got the flu. Your blood work shows a significant iron deficiency. I recommend incorporating more red meat into your diet.
Dr. Jones, your taxes were not filed and have been automatically deducted with late fees. Your medical license has been revoked.
Oh, hell nah. I filed an extension.
Purchase denied. Monthly red meat allowance exceeded. Try mealworms instead.
And this ain't exaggeration, man. This is where they're going with it. You know, because they're already trying to say that they don't want humans consuming too much meat. I think they said you're allowed a bite of meat a day, if I'm not mistaken. The amount of meat that they say that a person can consume on a daily basis is the equivalent of a bite. So if you wait a whole week without having meat, then you're allowed maybe the equivalent of a small steak or something like that. One steak a week for every human being. You know, this is where it's headed. And other than that, they want you to eat worms and bugs and stuff like that. They're already making flour out of bugs, crushed up, dried up, what they call it, dehydrated bugs. And then they crush it up and make grind it up, make a flour out of it. It's called bug flour, and they're making bread out of it, man. And they're calling it another word and slipping it in there so that you don't know that you're eating bugs. But this is where it's headed. This is what they want. So once they have control over you by putting a charagma under your skin, then you have no control over your life anymore. You can't just freely eat what you want, go where you want, do what you want. You're going to be restricted. And now they're moving all the vehicles to electric cars so they can switch them off. If there's a protest planned, they'll make it to where your car won't allow you to go to that protest. It's just, that's where it's all headed. Esau is looking to enslave the whole world, and ultimately he wants his birthright back. Okay, so this, I'm just going to play the rest of this, and I got a few precepts I want to bring out.
Can you guys please let me through?
Attention. Unauthorized political gathering detected. Participants' access to financial services has been suspended.
So they've cut off her money from being able to use her money, right? Which is all digital, by the way. You can't just pull out cash out your pocket, right? But now you if you're anywhere in the vicinity of this protest, you can't use your money.
Due to the speeding infraction, your car will be immobilized for 3 days.
Fuck you! Take your surveillance policies and rot in hell!
You've earned 50 bonus credits for reporting your neighbor's hateful misconduct.
You can't make this shit up, man. 50 bonus credits for snitching. This is where it's going, man. Esau there's no end to this man's wickedness. With all the things going on with the Trump administration and militarizing ICE and, you know, the policies he's been putting in place, man, you can see that this is very much where they're headed, man. Okay? Because there's no limit to this man's wickedness. He is the devil.
This content exceeds your current social credit tier. May we suggest citizen responsibility? Sarah, open the door. You have been identified by the authorities. Don't resist. Don't resist. Don't resist.
Hey, so, you know, this is like a made up, I think it's AI video or whatever, but it's where it's so accurate, man. There's a lot of truth in it because this is where it's headed. Now, there's so many things I want to show you, man. I've got a lot of things here. But first, let's bring out a precept or two. What I want to do is quickly turn to, let's go to the Apocrypha real quick in the book of 2nd Ezra's. Let's go to chapter 16 and verse 67. Right, it says 2nd Ezra 16:67. It says, "Behold, the Most High Himself is the judge. Fear Him." So the Lord is the one setting all of this up. So in order to escape, what we got to do is fear the Lord. He's the judge. It says, "Fear Him." It says, "Leave off from your sins, forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever." Your iniquities is your sins. It says, "So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble, because He Himself is the judge." So that's all you got to do, man. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Otherwise, you're going to fall into this snare that He's going to put upon the whole world, man. This is of the Lord. The Christians don't know what the hell they're talking about. They seem to think Satan has free will, and now we got to pray to stop this because they don't know what's going on. They don't know the Bible. They have a warped concept of what the whole Bible's about, a warped understanding. You know, the Lord has give them strong delusion. Okay. Now let's go to a couple things here, right? This is what happens to those that, you know, resist the mark of the beast. In Revelations 20:4, it says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Yahushai 1,000 years." See? So we're gonna, have the victory and receive eternal life. You're gonna be looked well upon by the Lord, the one that created all things. He's gonna look at you in favor as his friend, rather than an enemy and a rebel, which means more to us than anything, man, to have that crown of life, right? So you got souls that will be beheaded, it says, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, the ones that didn't receive his mark, right? So this is what's going to happen. Some of us, he's going to cause to be put to death. Okay, I believe it's in, is it Revelations 2 and 10? Let's quickly see if we can find that. Yeah. Revelations 2 and 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. So is the devil going to rise up out the ground and toss us physically into prison? No. It's talking about the people who are the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan here on earth. The devil is Esau. So when he uses his government, his police, his agents to cast us into prison, that's the devil that the Bible's talking about. Ultimately Esau, man, because this is of his doing. He uses the wicked, the Lord uses the wicked, the devil, as his sword. Okay, it says, fear none of those things, right? Because if you're in good terms with the Lord, you know, and you're doing what is commanded of him, you ain't got nothing to fear when all these things come, right? Even if we get cast into prison, right? Obviously, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be nerve-wracking not knowing what's going to happen to you and this and that, but we ain't got to worry, man, because what you need to understand is that you're fulfilling the lot of a prophet, of one of the elect. Okay, so you've already gotten the victory, man. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, because we're all going to suffer some in different degrees in these end times, man, because we're talking about the worst time that the world has ever seen. It says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, which is a set period of time. It says, be thou faithful unto death, because some of us may have to die. And the way we're going to die is by decapitation. A lot of us. It says, some of us, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. See? So, you know, our main focus is to be obedient and ride this thing out all the way, because you got to understand what you signed up for when you came into this walk, man. The Lord says, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare your souls for temptation, right? So Revelations 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. See, because we got to fear none of those things that we shall suffer with, because this is a good time. Regardless of how it may appear to look, we know there's no stopping this, but we know what's coming. We know we're almost out of here, man. So therefore we got to rejoice, ye heavens, right? It says, and ye that dwell in them. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. So death to the masses, man, destruction. It says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So Esau knows that he don't have long left to rule, because he knows that the Israelites are getting ready to rule next. Let's prove that really quickly in 2 Ezra 6 and 9. 2 Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world. So Esau, the white man, so-called white man, is ruling at the end of the world. He's the end of the world. This nightmare, dystopian, sick, twisted reality he's got us living in, that we're experiencing right now. And it says, in Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So paradise, the new earth, the paradise is going to be ruled by Jacob, which is you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the elites know this. This is why they're coming down having great wrath, because they know that they have but a short time. They ain't got long left. So they got to get this all in place, man. They have this thing called Agenda 2030, right, that they want to put in place. And let me show you right here, because it lines up perfectly with what they're doing right now with the digital ID. Check this out.
Agenda 2030. Check this out. One world government, one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, end of national sovereignty, end of privately owned property, end of the family unit, mandatory vaccines, universal basic income, microchipped tracking for all, world social credit system, thousands of FG towers, end of private transportation, end of private farms, business owned by government, travel restrictions, restricted land use. This is Agenda 2030. This is what they on. This is what they on. This is 5 years from today. 5 years. That's all people got. You got 5 years, fam. Share this ping out.
And Lord willing, we don't even have 5 years, man. we trying to anticipate the day of the Lord, man. We're trying to hasten the day of the Lord. Okay, we don't want 5 more years of this. You know, if we could leave tomorrow, we would. And this is the mindset you got to prepare yourself to be in, to leave everything behind, man. All your family that don't want to come along, meaning they don't want to cleave to this truth, you got to forget, you got to leave them behind, man. Right? Because it's all down to that, you know, it's all down to your personal salvation at the end of the day. Let me just find a preset real quick. Prepare solar temptation. All right. This is going to be in the Apocrypha, so I need to modify my search. And we need to go to the Apocrypha. And it's in Sirach 2 and 1, right? This is Sirach 2 and 1 in the Apocrypha. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Because they're going full steam ahead with this agenda. They're trying to get it popping by 2030, right? Which we're at the end of 2025. We're approaching the end of 2025. So we really, in a nutshell, got about 4 years left, man. Okay, for them to pull this off. But the Lord says, so if you come to serve the Lord, you got to prepare your soul for temptation, meaning there's all kind of trials that you're going to have to face. You know, being in this truth, it's not going to be a cakewalk, man. Okay. What was the precept I was about to grab? I forget it. I forgot. It slipped my mind. Anyway, let me play 1 or 2 more clips and then we'll wrap it up. I'm curious to see what this is. I forgot what this is.
This video should terrify you. She's part of an experiment, but she doesn't know it.
Okay. Now this one I added in there because basically this shows you how the masses are just going to follow along with it, right? And you can't be walking along the path that you got to break free from this mind control that Esau's got going on over the whole world. And the only way you do that is by coming into the knowledge of this truth. Because everyone else, even these people that claim to be conspiracy theorists, they're going to be caught up in this too, man. Okay. But, you know, us of the hopeful elect that have cleaved to the truth, the Lord is going to spare us from this type of mindset because you got to isolate yourself from this world. That's why a lot of us that are in this truth, we're kind of like loners. You know, we like to do things alone because we've detached ourselves from this world, which is going to pay off in the days that we're coming into. Like I said, you got to leave all these people behind, man. So being a loner and not being conformed to the ways of this world will help you, you know, in the long run. All right. So check out this social experiment that was played, done. And you can see how this is how most of the world are. They conform to the ways of this world. And the scriptures tell us not to do that.
This video should terrify you. She's part of an experiment, but she doesn't know it. Now you see these people, they're in on it. You see, she's facing the elevator exit. They're facing a wall that leads to nowhere. But because they're all doing it, watch what she does. She eventually folds and turns towards the wall, heading nowhere. Now, maybe she was just a follower, but now the guy in the white shirt is part of the experiment. Everybody faces towards him. He looks confused, but in a short period of time, he turns around and conforms. Now, this is where it really gets crazy. He's the victim, right? They walk in and they face him, and he looks really, really confused. Eventually, he folds like everybody else, but then he starts to spin exactly like how they're spinning. Crazy, right? The harsh reality is that this is how most people are. It's easy to laugh and say that you would never be a sucker that does this, but most people don't understand the magnitude and how much people they're around affect their behaviors. It would be wise for you to be careful about who you're around, because everybody's a free thinker until they're in a room with a bunch of people facing the wrong direction.
And that's, you know, the world, the people of the world that we're around, they're facing the wrong direction, man. They're all headed into the wrong direction. Let me grab a quick precept. This is the book of Romans, chapter 12 and 2. It says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So that's what happens when, you know, you accept the truth. The Lord says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free, meaning make your mind free, so you're not conformed to the ways of this world, to the people of this world. Okay, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. So, you know, in a nutshell, man, you don't want to be one of the ones that conform to the ways of this world. You got to lean upon prophecy, man, in order to be protected from what's coming, because the Bible's already telling you what's coming, so that you know how to prepare for it, what to expect, and what you ought to do in certain scenarios. Because once the prophets are taken out of here, if you don't have the oil, you know, then it's too late, man. If you one of them foolish virgins that didn't get this knowledge and wisdom and understanding, you know, before it's too late, then, you know, you're gonna be, if your mind is conformed to the ways of this world, you're gonna be swept up with this world, man. You're gonna be taken with the people of this world, man. Okay, let's just quickly grab Isaiah. Isaiah 33 and 6, I believe it is. Yep. Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times," talking about the times we're living in now. So the wisdom and knowledge of the Holy Scriptures is what's going to keep us stable in these times we live in. Because if you don't have wisdom and knowledge of what the Bible says is going to happen, prophecy basically, right, then you're going to be susceptible to, you know, being snared and being, you know, taken by the wiles of the devil, basically, man. It says, "Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation." So having this wisdom and knowledge is going to be the strength of your salvation. Don't you want salvation? Well, the strength of your salvation is having the proper wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man, which can only be given to you by the prophets that the Lord has sent in these end times before the destruction, just like he always does. He always sends prophets or angels or messengers, you know, before he destroys somewhere, before destruction, basically, right? It says the fear of Yahweh is his treasure. So that's our treasure, man, the fear of the Lord. We ain't stocking up on canned goods, you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to, you know, if you got the means to get a little extra something, just, you know, because it could come in handy. Okay, but I'm not saying just dedicate all your finances on just, you know, stocking up your whole house on canned goods and this and that, because you may have to leave it all behind, man. Right? Because, you know, when this all kicks off, you know, some of us are going to be forced out of our homes. You know, it says that in the scriptures in what is it, 2nd Ezra 16 around verse 70. Right? I won't go there for the sake of time, but, you know, I'm literally about to wrap this lesson up. I think the point is pretty much made. let's just quickly show you what Mike Yeadon, right? He was definitely against the juice. He makes a lot of good points when he speaks, but let's just quickly, what's 104? That's 3 minutes. Let's play this one here. Check this out.
And I've explained that if you sign up for digital ID, it'll be the last really important decision you make, because your digital ID will be the only thing that your governments, institutions, and anybody authorized by those holding power will recognize you through. So you won't exist anymore. You'll be replaced by a QR code. You are not a number, you're an address to some resources. And that makes it particularly dangerous because those resources can be edited. And one of those fields, for sure, will be your vaccination status. And I'm absolutely sure, because I've seen it written down in multiple documents, that your digital ID will only remain valid if you comply with the conditions of validity. So one of them will be, have you had your latest recommended or mandated jabs? And because of the fact that I'm qualified in toxicology and worked for decades with others in what's called rational drug design, when I look at these jabs, the constituents, I am certain, formally certain, that they were designed to hurt you. And so, the digital ID will lose validity unless you roll your sleeve up. You must see that's designed to injure and, I believe, ultimately kill you. And I've explained that if...
Right. I don't know what happened to the audio. It messed up, but I probably should stop it anyway, because it will probably get me for medical misinformation or something when he's talking about sensitive topics such as the jab. But we'll leave that there, man. I got one more precept I want to bring out before I close out. Let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 14, starting at verse 9. Right, this is Revelations 14, starting at 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark on his forehead or in his hand, right, if you receive this charagma, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture. So you're going to get the full strength of the Lord's wrath. It says, into the cup of his indignation. Indignation is righteous anger. Okay, so he's righteous for bringing the heat that he's going to bring, boy. It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, which is the nukes. So you're going to be left there in the nuclear holocaust, which is the end game, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So while the chariots deliver the elect and they're hovering above you, the elect are going to be able to witness the destruction of America, right? Which is going to appear like a lake of fire, which is what the Bible's talking about when it talks about the lake of fire. So the chariots will be hovering there, and the Lord himself and the angels and the elect will be watching the rest of you down below getting nuked with fire and brimstone, right? So this is why it says in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Verse 11, it says, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So you people that are down with the beast system, okay, and you people that are down with the NWO agenda, you pledge allegiance by allowing them to lodge a damn digital all inside your meat, right? You're screwed, man. You're through. All right. So we've been going, what, hour and 40 minutes? Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shimi Shai Barakatah. Good to see you join my live. Let me take this off real quick. And we'll start Revelations 2 and 10. Okay, I don't know if you posted that before or after I did, but I already brought that out. But good precept, Revelations 2 and 10. The brother Rakah from from GMS Babylon is Fallen, which is Elder Yawakanan in London. This is the brother that teaches alongside him, used to be a part of my camp, and now is officially joining Great Millstone. So subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. This is Revelations 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So, you know, hey, some of you are going to be cast into prison for resisting this beast system, this system that they're implementing. But fear none of those things, because you're in good league with the Lord if you do that. All right. So this is why I brought that precept out earlier, that you got to prepare your soul for temptation. Man, in Sirach, what was it? Sirach 2:1 or something. Could be wrong. But anyway, that's it for the lesson. Lord willing, you've been edified by this lesson. I'm going to leave it there. All right. And on that note, I'm going to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hasham, Rakah, Qudash. All right. Shalom.